Imagine waking up to headlines so astonishing that they leave the entire nation frozen in disbelief. Crowds gather outside Buckingham Palace. Reporters scramble for confirmation. Royal commentators interrupt live broadcasts with breaking updates. Behind the historic palace walls, one decision threatens to reshape everything people thought they knew about the monarchy. What could possibly convince King Charles to make such an extraordinary move? According to whispers circulating through palace corridors in this fictional story, the king has reached a moment unlike any other in his reign. Faced with mounting responsibilities, growing public expectations, and the constant pressure surrounding the royal family, he decides that one person has consistently demonstrated the loyalty, discipline, and unwavering commitment needed to safeguard the institution. That person is none other than Princess Anne. For decades, and has quietly earned a reputation as the monarchy's hardest-working royal. Rarely seeking headlines, she has instead focused on duty, charity, and service. While others found themselves surrounded by controversy or intense media attention and became known for simply getting the job done. Now, in this fictional tale, that quiet dedication is about to receive the greatest recognition imaginable. Inside the palace, senior aides gather for what they believe is another routine briefing. Confidential documents sit neatly arranged on an antique oak table. Security officials stand silently near the entrance, while advisors exchange uncertain glances. The atmosphere feels different. King Charles enters the room carrying a sealed leather folder. Without unnecessary ceremony, he takes a seat and surveys the room before speaking. "I have reached a decision that I believe will strengthen the crown." Silence immediately fills the chamber. No one dares interrupt. The king continues, explaining that modern challenges require trusted leadership and exceptional organization. The monarchy, he says, must adapt while preserving its traditions. Then comes the sentence no one expected. Princess Anne will oversee the coordination of palace operations. For several seconds, nobody moves. Some advisors struggle to comprehend what they've just heard. Others quietly exchange surprised looks. Could this really mean Anne is being entrusted with responsibilities normally divided among multiple senior officials? The king calmly explains that her decades of experience, practical judgment, and steadfast commitment have made her uniquely qualified for the role. Although entirely fictional, the announcement spreads through our imagined Britain like wildfire. Television stations interrupt scheduled programming. Royal experts begin debating what such a move could mean. Social media erupts. Supporters praise Anne's tireless work ethic, arguing that few members of the royal family have demonstrated greater consistency. Critics wonder whether concentrating so much authority in one royal could create new challenges. Across the country, conversations unfold in homes, cafes, and workplaces. Some call it brilliant. Others call it unprecedented. Within Buckingham Palace, Princess Anne herself appears remarkably composed. Rather than celebrating, she requests detailed briefings from department heads. Household management, security coordination, state event planning, historic property maintenance, staff organization, charitable engagement. Every report receives her full attention. Those who have worked alongside and for years notice something familiar. She asks practical questions. She expects precise answers. She focuses on solutions rather than appearances. One palace employee quietly remarks that Anne has always believed actions speak louder than ceremonies. As word spreads through the fictional palace, reactions become increasingly varied. Some staff members welcome the change, believing Anne's reputation for efficiency could improve daily operations. Others worry that her famously direct style might introduce higher expectations throughout every department. Still, nearly everyone agrees on one point. Princess Anne never avoids responsibility. Meanwhile, newspapers speculate endlessly about why King Charles made such a dramatic choice. Some suggest he wants stability. Others believe he wishes to reward lifelong dedication. Still others imagine that he hopes to prepare the monarchy for future generations by placing experienced leadership at the heart of palace administration. Theories multiply by the hour. Yet the king remains silent. In this fictional story, only and truly understands the weight of what lies ahead. Late that evening, after the excitement has faded, she walks alone through one of the palace's historic corridors. Portraits of generations of monarchs line the walls. Each painting reminds her that history has always demanded sacrifice from those entrusted with public service. She pauses before a window overlooking the palace gardens. The grounds are peaceful. London glows in the distance. For a brief moment, she reflects on decades spent representing the crown across hundreds of engagements every year. There have been triumphs. There have been disappointments. But duty has always remained constant. That, she believes, will never change. The following morning, Anne begins what many inside the palace jokingly describe as the longest day in royal history. Her schedule starts before sunrise. Meetings with estate managers, briefings from financial advisors, discussions with ceremonial planners, reviews of upcoming diplomatic receptions, conversations with conservation specialists responsible for preserving centuries-old royal treasures. Every hour introduces another challenge. Yet, Anne moves methodically from one meeting to the next. No wasted time. No unnecessary speeches. Only work. Observers quickly notice subtle changes. Departments begin communicating more efficiently. Reports arrive on schedule. Decision-making becomes faster. Staff members appreciate the clearer expectations. Even those initially skeptical admit that Anne's practical leadership style seems to be producing immediate results. Outside the palace gates, crowds continue gathering. Tourists hope for a glimpse of history unfolding. Journalists wait patiently for official confirmation of rumors. Royal enthusiasts eagerly discuss every development. Across Britain, fictional polls suggest growing public curiosity about Anne's expanded responsibilities. Some commentators even speculate whether this moment could become one of the defining chapters of King Charles's reign. But inside the palace, the king appears unusually relaxed. According to this fictional narrative, he privately tells one trusted advisor that true leadership isn't about doing everything yourself. It's about knowing whom you can trust. Those words spread quietly among palace staff. For many, they perfectly summarize why Princess Anne was chosen. Not because she sought greater influence, not because she demanded recognition, but because decades of dependable service had earned something more valuable than applause. Trust. And in the world of monarchy, trust may be the most powerful currency of all. Yet, as Anne settles into her remarkable new responsibilities, an unexpected development begins to emerge, one capable of testing every decision that has just been made. Confidential files arrive bearing urgent markings. Senior officials request emergency meetings. Questions begin surfacing that no one anticipated. What starts as a historic appointment may soon evolve into the greatest challenge Princess Anne has ever faced. As the confidential files are opened, Princess Anne quickly realizes that the challenges ahead are not ceremonial. They demand calm judgment and decisive leadership. In this fictional story, every department looks to her for direction as preparations begin for a series of important state engagements that must proceed flawlessly despite unexpected complications. Rather than rushing to conclusions, Anne assembles senior palace officials and insists on one guiding principle. Every decision must protect the dignity of the crown and the confidence of the public. Her composed approach steadies the room, replacing uncertainty with renewed purpose. King Charles quietly observes from a distance, pleased that his trust has been well placed. He offers only a few words to his sister before leaving the meeting. "I knew you would do what was necessary," and responds with a slight nod, reminding everyone that royal service has never been about personal recognition but about fulfilling responsibility, no matter how demanding the circumstances. As news of the palace's renewed efficiency begins circulating across the country in this fictional narrative, public curiosity reaches new heights. Supporters wonder whether Anne's practical leadership marks the beginning of a new chapter for the monarchy, while commentators eagerly await the king's next announcement, one that could redefine the future of the royal household forever.